Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to do a bit of a video, and I just want to do a bit of kind of just some thoughts about the whole Keemstar and Becky stuff. Um, just sort of some thoughts that I had rolling in my head. I kind of just want to talk about. Now, I think what she did is wrong, and given that the last I believe Saturday and Sunday has been extremely crazy, particularly Saturday and Friday, with her being fired, and then her doing her little recording that she did on Saturday, and then obviously everybody responding to that, and just the initial, just her response to everybody else's. Personally, I feel like it's already been beaten, not beaten to death, but basically we're beating a horse down, right? In Minecraft, I'm not being serious, it's a metaphor for anybody who cares. Just in case, so the algorithm doesn't strike me down. Um, truthfully, I think that she could have avoided a lot of these issues by, you know, by simply just taking accountability for what she did wrong, rather than, you know, just blaming it on other people or blaming it on Keem. Because I think if you wanted to make the case, well, Keem was the one who tricked her. Well, she had a number of opportunities and listen to her fans to not take the offer. I mean, what probably people don't talk about the most is that she was literally willing to sell the channel for like $20,000, right? Let's say this, right? Hypothetically, Keemstar did buy the channel for $20,000, right? He bought the BBU, bought the Becky channel for $20,000. That would have probably been way worse. I mean, the 2,500 is bad enough, right? The 2,500 is already bad enough, but to sell your own channel for $20,000, it's just even crazy, just insanity of a new level. Like I don't even think people kind of realize that, right? That like, oh, she was going, she sold us out for 2,500. That's bad. That's bad no matter how much you try to, you know, quote unquote justify it or whatever. But the 20,000 is even way worse than you can imagine. And I feel like she was really close. Like I feel like if Keem and Mike just said, "Yeah, we'll totally buy the channel for $20,000 with or without Roxy," right? It would have probably made her. I mean, that's something even people don't even think about. That 20,000 makes her look even worse than the 2,500. I mean, they're both bad from, but very differently. And then after that, right after she got actually fired and kicked out, and it was revealed that she got played hard. I mean, it kind of just showed that she's not that smart, she's not that clever, and she's not that. The facade of being the highly intelligent, highly sophisticated woman was broken, right? Right? And just her trying to then later on bait people. I mean, with the whole Gemini thing late Friday night, where Gemini had Savage, had Keem, right? That was a good play on him. That was content. Now, some people say that he cooked the content. I don't agree with him kicking those people out, but his loyalty was there, and that's something you gotta give him props for. Whether you like the guy or not, he had loyalty, and I'm willing to give him that much. And I think even so, I think he did earn a lot of people respect for that. Surely, I don't like that he kicked him out, but I respect the loyalty, and that I'm willing to give him. I respect that. I ain't gonna lie. I will respect that 100%. But on the other hand, right? On the other hand, Vixie kind of feel like she got not played or screwed over, but the way that whole stream between Vixie and Becky, you could kind of tell that Becky just talked. The way Becky was talking to Vixie, which it's kind of disgusting, and just Vixie was trying to give the like a better perspective, like, well, if we discuss it, at least we can control it, right? If we do it, and like, and the way Becky was like, no, 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 no. Oh, look at all what they're doing. You why don't like it's like very childlike, and I think this whole thing really broke Becky's mind, her view of herself, thinking that she was like the sophisticated upper class woman from whatever with a Harvard degree, which is not even from Harvard. You know that illusion is broken, and there's no way to save it. And I think because of it, we saw the real what the real Becky is like, and I think a lot of people feel very, very disillusioned, and I think rightfully so. You really can't blame people for feeling disillusioned with her, especially those who were very supportive of her, right? Especially people who wanted a network that was not all around, based on the LCU. Well, it's like it's been said. Well, like that opportunity to shit talk the LCU was gone. It was already gone after the first week, and then just kind of bringing it up when it was like not needed, it kind of felt like, why are you doing this now? Wasn't the whole point was not to be like the LCU, but then you end up being like the. In a weird way, you can say if people call Xylee a sellout, then Becky is no different than Xylee, right? And with Savage and Roxy, you can say that Roxy kind of lied to her fans that she's saying she was never going to go back with the LCU. Now she never did say, like, you can, if you really wanted to, you can say that, well, Roxy said she was never going back to the LCU, but she never did say that she wasn't going to, you know, go back to like the Discord, which is like, well, wouldn't that be? Well, then is she still alive regardless? I think what it is for her is that she didn't want to work with Mike, and she makes that very clear. She does not want to work with Mike, which is probably her real concern. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense when you think about it. But even so, let the Roxy thing be for what it's worth. And with Savage, I mean, Savage does not care. Savage is going to tell you the truth. Whether you like Savage or not, she's going to be blunt and honest with you. Whether you like her approach to it or not. It's sort of also the way, like, let's not forget the way Becky, when she was freaking out, crashing out, and the way she was talking to her fans, the way she was talking to other creators, like Ruby, Savage, Roxy, the Dwarves, even. Like, it's like, whether you like these people or not, it's like, dude, stop making it worse than it is. You're already burning the bridge. And with her trying to appeal back to her pay picks and all those people, most of them are gone, right? I think it's like Mary's still there, Spark is still there. I think like one or two more, but that's about it, right? I think most of the males just up and left completely. I think most of the males like suffer horrors and Nick Stone gone, and I think they just saw, oh, was he using us for our money? Was she not really gonna treat us like people, and she just saw us as nothing but people to pay? Like, it's kind of disgusting. I think in a weird way, I do feel bad for her fans. Like, whatever is left of her fans, I can only imagine that they either have to cope or have to live with the fact that they got screwed over. And that's usually the thing with anyone. It's sort of like buyer remorse or some type of equivalent where, like, you bought into it and you put a lot of money into it, but now, and you put your time and energy in trying to prove that this is better than the other side, but then you realize it isn't, and it's actually way worse. So you cope with it or you leave. There's really only those two options. So it leaves with a lot of people feeling very burnt. Now, in terms of the future of the LC, of the term of the future of the BBU, it all really depends on Becky. It all depends on how she's going to act, how she's going to approach this in the next coming days. But I think the more times he doesn't respond, I don't know if she's even going to stream tonight. I know Dick Gemini's going to stream, but the more she just lets it, like, I mean, yeah, you can say the best option is to let it just be and just take the L. But after like baiting people and all that stuff, I'm sorry, but you really can't. There's nothing you really can't save yourself after that. And a lot of people probably have some type of like negative, PTSD or some equivalent of like whiplash or even flashback. Because I already said this, and I said it to Ruby, that this stuff reminds me of something I went through years ago, a really really bad experience that I went through so many years ago, and just seeing it all over again just kind of, um, you know just weirdly triggers my brain in negative light. And so when I was going through this and watching those streams, I was just like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I'm just not a big fan of this. And if I already did not respect her, then I completely have no sympathy or respect. And I think that's really all that is. Like, I'm probably may talk about this here and there, but not as much. And it all depends on how she's going to play the role. It all depends on how she's going to do the next thing. But it all depends on her. It all depends on her and how she's going to act, how she's going to respond. And I think that's where I can leave it off. Till next time. And I guess before I leave, the future probably doesn't look the best. That was the original point of this video. The future doesn't look the best, and I don't think there's much that could be done. She can try to save what she can, but I feel like at this point, it's like is it even you can try to save whatever fans you have, but I think after the last couple days, you alienated way too many, and now they're either gonna be done with you now, or it's gonna be a long road of recovery. And just be who you are. Just be the true self. Stop pretending to be anyone else. You're not that person. And I think people see it for what it's worth. People see the real Becky. And if you want a future in streaming, just lean into that more. Just be the real Becky, not this fake sophisticated woman that no one really cared as much for. People wanted the real raw Becky, and we got it. And I think people are not happy for what they got. Till next time.